plants. Now, how long have you been doing gardening? First, tell me,
2 years.
like, two
Yeah.
years.
So last year, like I have a huge yard, but I never used it because I was never into gardening. Even now, I wouldn't say it's my hobby or passion. I just started it out of, ecological responsibility, I would say, because I have always been into sustainability and being, eco-friendly and all that. And I felt like I teach everything, I preach everything, but not gardening. And I felt like a hypocrite not doing it myself. So last year, I started gardening, and yeah, it just took off. So I'm enjoying it. So I do it like in a way that it is sustainable and economical, something that can be done by anyone. Although I have a big space, I do want to learn more about gardening in a smaller space, and it's something more practical for everyone. So that's my
Awesome.
goal with gardening.
What did you start growing?
So my mother-in-law was here last year when I started gardening. So she started growing peppers and bell peppers,
You
mirchi,
mean the bell peppers?
chili peppers. Yeah. So last year I had those, and this year we expanded. My husband helped out a bit, and last year when I started gardening, I got a lot of scrap wood, that people were throwing out just to save it from the landfill. And I built some beds.
Show us your
So I built
beds.
raised
Yeah.
beds. This one, this big one. They're pretty much occupied with house plants. You can barely see this one. Loki has taken over.
So you put the soil, like what kind of soil? Did you buy the bagged
So
soil or did you?
I bought the soil, and I also what I did was these three beds. I didn't plant anything last year. I just set them up and put some soil and started composting. All the kitchen scraps, I brought it out and dumped them in there. And that I started doing that in September or so. And by February, everything was completely decomposed, and I had all plants growing out of those. There are seeds in that compost kitchen scraps and all that. So I had tomato plants, cucumber plants, a cabbage came out of the
But just by
compost.
itself.
Yes, I love composting so much because there's always a surprise in there.
So the
And
seeds were there that you and they just sprouted. Where
yeah,
did the cabbage come from?
I know. I was so surprised. I usually get the cabbage from farmers market, the purple one, and I guess the cone that you cut out at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's supposed to root and grow, but it
Wow.
didn't survive because the other plants took over. But I had a plant. It was the best surprise. I was topping it with some soil or cardboard pieces or whatever the brown matter I could get,
Yeah.
and I kept layering it. I have this bin dedicated to compost. So every time I have scraps that's already I have used for compost, I bring them in, put it in, dump it in here, and cover it some with some soil. And you can see there are plants already growing again. This is another
Yeah.
cucumber plant. This is amaranth. I have some buds
Wow.
eating
Just
them.
growing by
And
itself?
yeah, yeah. Look here. There's a mango plant.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow. So you have grass. Did you dig? Is there a hole under this, or is it just like from the?
I have this fabric, weed preventing fabric underneath, but I don't really recommend it. I would say just lay cardboards underneath as for weed control,
Yeah.
and then you can start adding soil and compost and everything.
Did you make this planter yourself, the box?
Yes, I did.
And so it's like ground level. It doesn't go down into the earth.
No, not into the soil. It's 12 inches above the ground.
Okay. So you put the cardboard, you're saying, under it?
Yes, and you don't need that fabric. Really, it doesn't
Yeah,
do a lot because I see grass growing still out of it. So a good way of doing it is in putting in cardboards as the base, just
got
to
it.
prevent the weeds, and then top it with soil and green scraps and everything.
And there's no bugs, no nothing that come.
I do have bugs, because I don't have a complete ecosystem where you have trees and bushes and the plants and flowers and everything. I don't have that, so I do have bugs. I have aphids, mites, and leaf-footed bugs. Just this morning, I was getting some tomatoes out, and I was there were these leaf-footed bugs all over the tomatoes. I don't spray anything. I don't buy anything synthetic pesticides or. Uh, I
Okay.
just don't like the idea of it. Yeah, my pepper plants had lots of aphids. So what I did, I bought the neem oil, but I just didn't have the stomach to put Dawn soap in it and spray it all over. So I just sprayed it down with the hose, and I did that a few times, and the aphids are gone.
Oh,
They're
nice.
growing back again. So knock on wood.
Okay.
I hope they don't come back. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing well so far. But I'll show you my compost tea bin. So
Okay.
this is a 10-gallon bucket. I got it on Facebook Marketplace for $5. So that was a steal.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Awesome.
all my pots I bought on Facebook Marketplace for all are second hand, all are sustainable choices.
Yes.
So,
what's that black box
what?
behind? Behind there's a black container
Oh,
behind the.
this is another compost bin. I bought this like 6 or 7 years ago with the idea of sustainability, but
You're
I
not.
use it. But so there is soil in it. I sometimes the compost scraps that I get from the after the compost tea, I dump them in here or in that raised bed I showed you earlier.
Okay. And this is
So this
mixed
is
with soil.
awesome. What?
This is mixed with soil.
Yes, I use soil in here, and there are two bins in this one. And so when it is composting and it's closed and it's always warm, right? The composting procedure.
Yeah.
So the sprouting, all that happens, and I got like I used to put date seeds in it with the
Uh,
compost scraps, and I got date plants.
wow.
Yeah, here. This is these are a couple of date plants. Yeah. So those are.
Wow.
So I put these scraps on Wednesday night or Thursday morning. I remember.
Wow. So can you show us inside the white bucket, please, Ajita?
It'll be disgusting,
No,
Chavi.
it's okay.
Are
Let's.
you sure?
Yeah, we need to
You can cut the
see.
video if you want.
No, yeah, okay.
There.
Wow. So you fill it up. Now
Yeah.
tell me how you fill. Like from your
Yes.
kitchen,
This
it
is.
comes directly into this.
Yes. I collect all the scraps in like 2 or 3 bins, and I usually after one bin fills up, I put it in the fridge. Then I fill the other bin. So I get like 3 big bins of like maybe 2 or 3 gallons. Overall, like 3 or 4 gallons of scraps. I put it in this bucket and fill the bucket. This is a 10-gallon
Okay.
bucket.
So 3 or 4 gallons of scraps and the rest is water.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hardcore now. I mean, hard set in stone. You can do how much ever you want. You can dilute it.
So
So
you said you refrigerate the bins until it reaches that amount you want to put in the white bucket, you store it in the fridge.
yeah, yeah, the scraps. I mean, they'll start, decomposing and rotting, and you'll have
Smelling.
those fruit flies and smell and everything. So I put the scraps, some of them in the fridge until I'm ready to bring them out.
So you can't dump them in the white bucket directly and put water and keep filling till you reach.
Well, the rest of the ones are rotting even more. There's no end to it.
Yeah.
So I empty it, clean it, and then put in more
Okay. S-
because the decomposing, the smell won't stop. if you
How
don't know
long
that.
do you keep it in the white bucket before
3 days.
3 days? Okay.
Yeah,
And then you put it in either that black box, the compost bin, or you put it in your planter
on the
compost.
raised bed. Yeah.
How long did you say, you mentioned how long does it say for this entire scrap to decompose in the compost bin and the
Um,
planter?
I honestly don't really care for it. I just leave it. I don't go and look at it again. But two
Yeah.
to three months should be enough in a open planter.
And in the box, in the black box?
That should be the same, about the same. As long as it has enough soil to scrap ratio, it'll decompose quickly. If there's too much scraps and less of soil or brown matter, then it'll take a much longer time to decompose.
So the brown matter you're using in the black box is soil. So that you have, means you have to keep getting soil, right?
Yes, you have to keep adding soil or
What
more
soil do you
cardboard or
get?
grass clippings.
What kind of
Uh,
soil
I
do you
get
get?
I get it from Home Depot. I get organic potting soil or garden soil depending on the use. And since using it for composting, it'll be decomposed and I can use it as regular soil for potting again later.
So is it garden soil or potting soil in the compost box?
I'm not very specific. Whatever is available,
Okay.
I'll
So it
just add
doesn't
it.
matter. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So
And
any
then
soil should be good.
okay. And then when do you, so from your black box, when do you take out the compost to put in your planters and your plants?
When I feel like it's very full, like I keep
Okay.
adding, right, when scraps and some more soil, and
Right.
I eat it once a week. And yeah, I think last year I took out all the compost and started filling again. I
Okay.
would say a year.
So let's say now with the water, coming back to your tea. So when do you start? After 3 days, you take out that tea, compost tea.
Yeah. So what I do is I fill the bucket about like one third of it. There's no really specific rule to it. I just, people dilute it even more. I use about one fourth to one third of the bucket and fill the rest with water.